The music's fading down. We're doing the Wayne's World, like the
Yeah, fading in. Yes, doing an episode finally.
That's right. Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of the Post Credits Podcast. My name is Brian Schoof. I'm one of your hosts. Over there is Mr. Matt Peppler, my co-host. How you doing, buddy?
Great, as always. I don't think I've had a bad day unless I've, had a migraine the night before. I'm always happy to be here because we're talking about movies. One of my favorite things. It's always a good time.
And it's usually it's not fun. Always a good movie, but even when it isn't, it's usually
That's true. I think the leading up to the podcast could be a good time or could be an annoying time, but then the podcast is always a good time.
Well, you mean depending on the strength or lack thereof of the movies?
How shitty the movie is. I'm like, oh boy, I'm gonna have a cathartic release when we talk about this one.
Yeah, there's been some of those. Just like, I don't think I can talk about this for an hour. Like,
oh man, yeah. There, the one in particular that is the shining star of that example is Six String Samurai.
Oh, that was one of yours.
Yeah, that was mine. I was like, yeah, let's do this. This looks like it could be like fun to shit on. And there was like nothing there. There was like not anything to talk about other than like it being bad. And that's like about a 10-minute conversation. So yeah. Whoopsies. Whoopsies.
Hey, we made it though, and you didn't have to drag us to hell to do it. But
no.
But that's the movie we're talking about today, which
we are talking about Drag Me to Hell. I love it. I was happy to talk about it. I do want to talk about a caveat though, and it's kind of a testament to how long we've been doing this.
Do you want to save was a caveat about the movie or about the podcast?
No. It's about the podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get it on.
Yeah, we've done a lot of these now. This is 108, right? Yeah, it's up there. Whatever that number is, that's how many we've done. But we were trying to decide on what movie we were going to do this episode, right? And it was like late at night. I was like thinking about it. I was like,
I know this story.
Yeah, we should talk about that movie. I was like, that'd be a fun one, right? And so I text Brian. He asked me in the morning because I've been unresponsive to him again, about like, hey, what movie are we doing? And I was like, yeah, we should do a Long Kiss Goodnight. And it was like an ellipsis followed by, we've already done that one. So that's where we're at in the podcast. I'm forgetting movies we've covered, for the show.
Yeah, we've done so many of them that we're starting to lose. Not that they're blending together. As soon as you said
it, and I thought about it a little while before I texted you.
Did you really?
Back. Yeah, because I was like, I think we've referenced this movie, but I don't think we sat down and talked about the whole movie.
Yeah.
JK. No, we've talked about it. It's an episode somewhere in our catalog.
Yeah, I just did a flyby through the list because I had to send someone they asked me where they could find our show log at. So I sent them the link and I just did a fly through. It was like 26. So
so a little while ago.
Almost 100 ago. That's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you asked me what number 27 was, I couldn't tell you without looking it up, but
I know.
I could tell you if we've done it.
Yes, that's the problem I'm facing. I couldn't tell you. I was like, I don't think we've done it. I think we just talked about it a little bit. We should do a full episode. Well, we did. We already did it. It's in the past. Anyways, that's my caveat. That's where we're at. One
of these days, we'll get to that point where we'll circle back and revisit it once we're actually good at this. And
yeah, someday we'll become really good at podcasting. We're just not there yet. Baby steps.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
But speaking of, I didn't know we did this. Technically, isn't this the first Sam Raimi movie we've done? Because like he's in Intruder, and that was a very Sam Raimi-ish.
Yeah, we haven't done any Spider-Mans. No Evil Deads.
Yeah, not The Gift.
Nope. Or For Love of the Game.
Forgot about that one. The Quick and the Dead.
Yep. Haven't done that. So yeah, this would be our first Sam Raimi movie.
Dark Man. We'll get to that at some point.
Yeah. Give me the elephant. Or no, take the elephant.
Go away.
Oh yeah, so this is our first Sam Raimi movie. It's been a little bit since I've seen it, maybe a couple of years. But man, like for being a PG-13 movie, it's kind of surprising that it is. Like I feel like it comes right up to the line, and I'm like, why wouldn't it be rated R? Because it, and I'm like, there's no blood except one scene, and then it's just nasty slime the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
You know,
You're talking about the
so
nosebleed scene.
yeah. Did I get any in my mouth?
Yeah. Well,
That's
yeah,
so
and
fucking funny.
he's both like the most honest and most irritating character in that, like the bank manager, because like yeah,
Yeah.
that's everyone's concern. But then like you hear it on the soundtrack, where, like right as he like before he turns away, is why would you do that? And then it's like
Right.
you know this is a fascinating movie. Like it doesn't. I wouldn't say it's polarizing, but what I've noticed from people's responses about it is that it's not that they love or hate it. It just kind of leaves them with a huh, kind of like they're not sure what to think
Really?
because well, not that the movie isn't good, but I think the question is whether or not anybody deserves what's happening because like it's very morally
Yeah.
ambiguous like throughout like you have so the premise of the movie is Allison Lohman plays what's her name, Christine Brown, who works at a bank, and then this old lady, Miss Ganoush, comes in, and she's losing her house because she can't make her mortgage payment. And Christine's up for a promotion, and the boss kind of does that crummy thing where it's like, I don't know, it's up to you.
Be,
It's a hard choice
be a scumbag.
that adults
I'm
can
telling you
make
to be a scumbag. But
without
if you're
telling
not a
you.
scumbag, I'll be a scumbag and not let you have your job. You
Well,
know,
meanwhile, there's this other guy who clearly doesn't deserve the promotion, who he's like
Stu, I got a
leading.
bone to pick with Stu.
Oh,
Fuck Stu.
we'll get to him.
Yeah,
That's the function of that character, though, and like you love to hate
it
him.
is. It is.
I,
Yeah.
I think that guy's a good actor, so I don't want to. When you
Oh, it's not
say
him.
yeah,
It's the character.
the character.
It's the character.
Yeah.
Character Stu. The character Stu can go fuck himself. The actor's fine. The actor's fine.
Yeah, we love.
He
him.
does not have to go fuck himself.
Just like the I'm blanking on a name. I should have been good and actually written notes, so I sounded like I knew what I was talking about. But,
my notes were very small too because I've seen this movie about 10 times. So I'm like, I'm gonna watch it because I love it.
Yeah,
but I don't really need to. So it's one of those ones, very few that I don't need to take a bunch of notes on because I'm kind of enamored with this movie. Anyways, continue.
Well, just to put a pin in that, she winds up losing her house because the bank's going to foreclose on it, and then cursing Christine Brown. So that's how we get the curse, right?
Yes.
So the movie becomes about her trying to undo the curse and apologize, but she can't because the lady dies.
Yeah.
It's this whole, I mean, just everything just constantly gets worse. So this is why I say, like, does anybody really, I think this is why it hits people weird, because even though Miss Ganoush is like the monster in a horror movie. Like, full stop. Like, she's she is the old witch that lives on top of the hill and eats children's bones and just every terrible thing.
Yeah. Flosses her teeth with their hair. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, yeah. But you feel bad for her because she's losing her house, and then it's like
you feel bad.
Christine kind of it's like because looks can be deceiving, and she's doing some shady crap too, like pulls the dentures out of her mouth, sets them on the desk so that she can eat one of the hard candies, and then pops them back in.
I just on a side note, I hate the sound of people chewing. I can't like that lip smacking, the gums around, all that stuff, all that moisture in someone's mouth. I can't stand. Man, does it make me nauseous hearing all the sound effects of those damn fucking dentures in this movie. It's just gross. It is disgusting. But I kind of like it for this movie at the same time, because it just puts you in that mindset. Like this lady's horrible and she deserves everything she's getting.
Yeah. Well done, sound team.
Yes.
And then, but see, that's why it plays on you, right? Because you think because she gets up the courage where it's like, oh, I can
Yeah.
do this. But then she's like, starts begging because she's an actual human being and not just this troll that you've never met.
Right.
Like gets down on her knees and is like really confused that they're kicking her out of the bank because it's this like old world thing of I'm begging you, like this isn't an
Yeah.
easy thing for me, and it's like that drums up great sympathy. So now Christine's the bad guy, even though she's not paying her mortgage. I mean, it's just like the sympathy is just off the charts for everybody, and
Yeah.
with Christine, I think it's interesting as the movie goes on, you start to like, you don't feel like she deserves it, but she even does some really questionable things in her desperation. So we'll unpack that more as we talk about it, right? But then
Sure.
when you get the final, she gets dragged to hell. You're just like,
Oh my God.
did she really deserve that? Gives me chills every time.
I think she does, but I'll tell you why later when
Okay.
we get through it. I think she does deserve it.
Man, I don't know if anybody deserves that.
Going to hell?
The way that
I think there's some people that deserve to go to hell.
I'll take it back.
I'm just talking about the character.
I know.
Yeah.
So you do think she deserved it a little bit?
Yeah. Because, well, do I want to say it now or do I want to get to this?
Let's try. Let's try to be professional for once.
But there
talk
was a
about
moment,
the movie semi in order.
I'll just say that there was a distinct moment for me that's like, yes, you deserve it now. So,
You
but we'll
turned
get there.
on her.
Yeah.
How far of the way through the movie was that?
Like 3/4, pretty close to the end.
All right.
So
okay.
So we can talk about Stu. We can talk about Stu now.
That's the thing that I think is really fascinating about this movie.
Yeah. There's still arguments, even though I'm pretty sure that she deserves it. There's like valid arguments about her not deserving it either.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a whole, like, did she? I don't know. Probably not. Right? She's just a fucking bank manager, trying to be a bank manager. She's not there yet. She's trying to get the assistant position. But I don't know. I have a problem with, like, I've always tried to do things ethically and morally right, by people, by friends of mine, by other professionals that I work with. I always try to be on the right side of things, and sometimes shit doesn't work well, and people get bad feelings about it. But I don't know. I feel like with how she was behaving, like kind of giving up her ethics right in the beginning, set herself up for the path down this road.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, I want that job, so I'm gonna fuck over this other person. Where it's like, are all banks like that? Maybe you just go to a different bank. Maybe you work for a competitor.
And even Alan does that because he snakes her out of the, he steals the file off her desk and snakes the account.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I feel like there was other roads to have like the moral high ground that she could have done. That's why I'm like, yeah, you set yourself up to get on this path. In
the beginning, right? But then I'm pretty sure what you're getting into is going to be some of the more, like dubious things she does, which are more born out of desperation for just trying to get out of. Where it's like, this is going, like, you're being railroaded. This is going to happen. And I think it's both, like you say, like you can look at it where it's like, yeah, you deserve it. And both like, man, what would I do? Like, you hope you're just never put in that situation to find out. But I think that like a great episode of the Twilight Zone, a lot of those that were the best at what they did really played up on that kind of, sense of moral quandary, and just married it with horror really well in just interesting ways. And that's, to me, that's not a bad quality, but something that makes the movie stick with me. And it gives it real depth beyond here's the monster and here's just a scary situation.
Yeah. man, I say I'm going back and forth in my head even now. Like, didn't she? You know. But what do you think about like?
Well, I think
I
you're going to
guess.
have to play Lamia's advocate at this point because you already committed to saying she deserved it.
Well, I'll tell you why though. I'll give you my
All
reasons
right,
why
all
when we
right.
get there. So, I guess where do we begin? Well, where do we start? Can we start talking about Stu? Because I
Sure.
don't like Stu at all. I do not like Stu one bit.
He is
I've
like
come across people like Stu. That's probably
surgically
why I have.
designed for you to hate him.
Yeah, but I've actually come across people like this
Mhm.
in jobs, like larger jobs or larger companies, where it's like you have more people around doing the same type of work.
Mhm.
And that they drive me up the wall. Like I can't stand them. It's like this brown nosing, talentless hack that is only getting anywhere because he's sucking up to the boss, to the big guy. When it's like, well, the rest of us are skilled. What are you
Yeah.
doing?
Or they're the boss's son or something like that.
Yeah. Now, another thing I don't like about Stu, about the sandwich debacle, where he wants spicy mustard but doesn't say that he doesn't want mayo on it.
Ooh, pretty sure I did. You did. You probably
Yeah.
didn't say that.
You didn't do shit, Stu. Fuck you. Yeah, the way I think it did. I think I'm gonna punch you in the mouth right now. That's what I think I'm gonna do. But I'll tell you what, I hate mayo. I think mayo's disgusting. I think it's the worst condiment ever created, and I have no idea why people like it. You probably like mayo.
I
I don't
like
understand
Chipotle mayo.
why. Okay, well, I don't like that either. I don't like any mayo. I don't even want mayo mixed with other things. Like I don't like coleslaw because it has mayo in it.
I like
I
coleslaw.
am anti-mayo. I am sans mayo.
All
So
right.
if Stu and I, we should be friends because we both dislike mayo, right? I probably hate mayo more than he does. You know what the first thing I say is whenever I get a sandwich in a work environment?
No onions.
No mayo. I don't care about anything else. Just no mayo. So fuck you, Stu. Like that should have been, can you get me a sandwich? No mayo. That should have been the second sandwich, then no mayo. So there, I'm riled up over a fictional character. I'm just saying. No, you didn't say that, Stu. Shut up.
Well, and
No.
we've all been there too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I was so hungry one day, and like I was hanging out with some friends. They're like, yeah, we're going to Jimmy John's. And they did screw up the order. It was Jimmy John's fault. They said no mayo. My friends did. And then they put mayo all over that thing. That is such a disgusting experience. Because for me, it's a sensory problem, right? It just feels like I got slime in my mouth. And to be so hungry and then to bite into this Italian club sandwich, the number 9, and it has mayo on it. It's just such a slap in the face.
They put mayo on an Italian sandwich? That doesn't sound right.
That's what Jimmy John's does. Yeah, no, it's kind of backwards. Like if it's an Italian sandwich, you got to go olive oil and vinegar.
Vinaigrette, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why they put mayo on it.
Maybe that was a legitimate screw up.
Could be. But I feel like I do have to ask for no mayo whenever I'm at Jimmy John's, and I only order the same thing. It's the same sandwich every single time. It's probably been 10 years of the number 9.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't want to dwell on Jimmy John's. I was just there yesterday, and they asked me if I wanted cheese, and it's like, oh, what's popular with that? Oh, we just have the one kind of cheese.
Just have cheese.
It's
what kind is it?
It's just provolone.
Oh, okay.
The most,
at least it's a cheese.
The most boring cheese mankind ever invented.
Provolone's not very good. I like mozzarella better.
Now I'm taking a stance on a controversial stance on sandwich, sandwich craft.
I love my sandwiches a particular way.
Hey, I just trademarked the term sandwich craft there.
Sandwich craft?
Yeah.
You got to get that Circle R on that, man.
All right.
License it out.
I'm putting a TM right next to it right now.
Okay. It's in the process.
It is intent to use. So
yes. Yeah.
All right. So Alan's a jerk, and then later that evening, Christine becomes that's when she becomes attacked in the parking lot.
Yes. Which is, this feels like this. I love this sequence. There's a lot of sequences that I really love in this movie. Quite a lot. But yeah, this one's it's tense, it's scary, and gross. Just
and
gross.
funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really
And
funny.
like how it sets up with like the handkerchief flying in the air, and you're like, well, that's creepy. And then you get you're following the handkerchief around the car because it's floating, and then it lands on the old hag in the backseat, and then shenanigans.
Yeah.
So the staple to the face, that was gross. Pow pow. One on the eyeball, one on the forehead. Eyeball pops out, or the one in the eyeball pops out later. Then you got her dentures falling off because she gets her face smacked against the dashboard and the dentures go flying. And then her mouth is on her chin, just like going around the chin.
She's gumming her to death.
Yeah. Oh my God. Think of like an experience that you'd never want to experience. And I think that's at the top of the list. A witch without her dentures gumming my chin off. Like that just is the worst.
Well,
right?
and it happens.
What could be worse?
It happens again when she falls out of the casket, and even the dead body's attacking her later on.
But then it's also there's ooze flying out of her mouth.
Yeah.
In that part, it's probably formaldehyde. It's not ooze. It's probably let's not even like get into the details of what that fluid is.
Well, I just want to go back on something that you touched on there with the dentures, right? Because that's like a cool and brutal like fight thing where it's like, I just broke the teeth out of your mouth. But then when she there's the gum thing that happens, and then she puts them back in, right? And now she has the demon teeth because they're all broken. So it's like they used the fight scene in a really brilliant way to make her look even more like the monster in a horror movie.
Right.
Which is saying something, because she already has like the one glassed over eye and just...
Yeah. So that's like when the curse happens, and then like this knockdown, drag out fight just so she can get a button off her coat, and then that's what she curses.
Well, did it? Yeah, I was watching that, and I was a little not confused, but I was thinking like if that was the end goal the whole time. Well, I guess she couldn't curse her hair and give it back to her because she ripped her hair off. But
there's probably a million scenarios where would have been no conflict or assault, right? To get that button.
Yeah.
It could have been
a
vast number of things that
wouldn't have made as interesting of a movie, though.
That is correct. If I made a movie, it'd be the most boring, horror movie you'd ever. I'm just gonna take this button off, and walk into the lobby of the bank and take this from you, and you're cursed. But no,
take that out of the have a penny jar and
right. What do you think of Justin Long as the boyfriend?
Well, I
what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I think he's great. I want to keep talking about the fight scene for a little bit because like there's some really funny shit that happens, but it's like I think Sam Raimi is really the only person who could get away with it. Because she's getting choked from behind. She goes to reach for the gear knob, and they have that like kung fu sound when she's reaching for it. I love that. When she has the monster teeth, goes to like bite her, she just has this ruler out of nowhere, and it gets like stuck in her mouth, and she just flies out like a rocket at her, like into the window of the car. It's so crazy that scene is intense as it is, and it's a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it though. It's wonderful, and that's the kind of thing that Sam Raimi's really really good at. And he has a scene like that in a lot of his movies, right? Like in Spider-Man 2, it's probably the scene where Doc Ock wakes up and with the tentacles and attacks everyone. You probably didn't see Doctor Strange in the Monster
It's streaming on Disney Plus now, so I'm going to watch it.
Oh, as if the day we're recording this. Yeah, the 20th.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The final episode of Kenobi comes out, so that's what I'm doing tonight after I finish watching this, but I digress. So in that movie, there's very much a couple scenes that are like, well, that's so Sam Raimi,
Yeah.
But it's not Drag Me to Hell with superheroes. And that was one thing that made me want to revisit this one, was after seeing Doctor Strange and people talking about how scary that was. And it's like, I don't know, man. I've seen some pretty gnarly stuff in PG-13 movies, and I was trying to think about like the gnarliest shit in PG, and like I think Drag Me to Hell, like there's some really great stuff in here where he's like you said, it really walks the line.
Yep. I
Poltergeist
think
is PG. Guy's ripping his face off.
it's just off the top of my head. It's this one, Poltergeist, and also Jaws, because like Jaws has some like how is this PG?
Mhm.
Like especially when that like the sailboat when they're in like that, what do they call it? The pond or the pool or something. It's like a shorter little
Yeah,
area.
yeah. When the leg
And
falls to the bottom.
yeah, oh my god. That looks like a real leg too. That does
It
not look
does.
like a special effect leg, like that looks real. And so that's surprising. But that was before PG-13. So I guess it's like, well, it's not too much of an R. So I guess by default we got to put it at PG-13 or PG.
Mhm.
So, but yeah,
So
for this one, PG-13 is like, yeah, uh, or maybe like 1408. That was pretty scary, but not gnarly, like what you're talking about. Because when
mhm.
I think of gnarly, I'm thinking of like some sort of physical nastiness.
Well, another PG-13 movie, the Brendan Fraser Mummy, which whatever you think about that, when the scarab is, like gets into the guy's chest and it's under his skin, like
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's gnarly stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's been a little while since I've seen the first one. Second one's laughable though.
It's
Second
so
one's
bad. Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Just
It's
really like
I'd like to talk about that one sometime. But what I will say is the CG doesn't hold up. You
okay.
know, I
We you know what? We have a podcast where we talk about movies.
oh,
Yeah.
when does that happen? Every
Every
Thursday.
Thursdays. Yep.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So maybe maybe we could have an episode on like which one? The second one or the first
No,
one?
the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the good one, and then we can talk about how that correlates to the Universal Monster series.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds
It
good.
sounds
Excellent.
sounds like an episode to me.
Yes.
So you were gonna move on from the fight scene before I derailed you there.
No, I was gonna talk about like Justin Long's character.
Oh yeah.
Because I like saw an interview and they're like he asked him like what does it feel like to play the character that most women play? I mean it's true.
Hmm.
Usually the protagonist is the male and then like the there's the damsel in distress, which is almost like Justin Long's character. He's just like the supportive almost husband, like fiance. He wants to marry her, by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So even though she's crazy, what I did like is
Man, he's a great fiance. Like
yeah, he's like supportive and like into her and wants to be a part of her life and doesn't care what she does, just wants to be around her.
yeah, and even though his parents are snobs, it's like yeah. You couldn't ask for a more wonderful,
Yeah.
supportive fiance.
And he's into coins. Could be drugs, but this guy's into coins. Yeah.
Yeah, thank God for that. Keeps him off the streets.
Right. Right. Um no, I really like his character. Sometimes I have a problem with like Justin Long. Just with like how he portrays things. I don't want to say like I hate him. I don't. It's just like some of the characters I'm like Tusk. I didn't
I don't care for Tusk.
yeah. I don't either.
I'm sorry, Kevin Smith fans. My buddy bought that, and we watched that at one of our movie nights, and I was just like, "What the fuck, Steve?" Like,
Yeah,
I
like
like about the first half hour of it, and then I don't know. It's just I don't.
so
You could tell that. I mean, I know the story behind it. Do you know the story behind it?
yeah, I was a fan of Kevin Smith for a long time, and I was listening to his podcast when they were like I was like, oh, the new episode's out this week, so I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna hit play. And they're talking about this like Tusk thing, and then it just like, and I'm like, the how they were talking about it sounded cooler than what we got, to be honest with you. But it's like Kevin Smith and who was it? It was on I don't remember what version iteration of his podcast, because he has a few of them. But yeah, him and his host were talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. And Kevin Smith's had a bunch of movies that I love, so what could go wrong? Apparently a lot. So,
Yeah, it was.
I didn't like Tusk at all.
But it wasn't because it was because of Justin Long, or because of
the character I didn't like, and I don't know if that's like a writing thing or a Justin Long thing, you know, because I like him in like Galaxy Quest, and I liked him in Jeepers Creepers, you know.
Yeah,
I don't like that movie now for other reasons.
that's
But
that's a shame about that movie. Yeah, let's not dwell on that one.
yeah,
I felt the same way. Yeah, I was trying to think of what other movies I've seen him in, but yeah, I'm right there with you. I never had a problem with him. I think he's charming. I think he's funny, and not in a, like, he's got so much energy that he's just kind of like, all right, you're wearing me out. Like, Tone,
yeah,
relax a bit.
calm
here.
down, calm down. Take
But
a chill
yeah,
pill.
no, I think he's perfectly cast here.
Yeah, yeah.
It was nice to see him get beyond the Mac guy. Like, there's
Oh,
remember that shit, like the PC and Mac commercials.
Oh my god. Oh,
that's what I don't
those.
like him from.
Maybe that's me. That could be the reason why I'm like, yeah, for some reason I thought I didn't like him. Maybe it was because of all those commercials, because they were on. Like, if you turned on a TV, you saw a Mac commercial with Justin Long and that doofus, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that could be it. Just seeing so much of it where I'm like, no more Justin Long. I need less Justin Long in my life.
Yeah.
I fucking forgot about those commercials.
Yeah,
well, you know, if you want to know what we're talking about, it'll be in the show notes right down below.
Oh, good. You can relive some nightmare fuel for you and look those up on the YouTubes and plug it in there. Yeah, I hated those. I didn't even know that he was an actor. I mean, all of those characters that wind up in commercials are actor, just like Flo's an actor, and then they just get typecast. And oh god, what was the PlayStation guy that was awesome? Kevin something or other. He's like doing like trick shots with a crossbow, like I don't know. Anyway, it was a whole ad campaign. Kevin Butler.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a whole fictional character that they dreamt up, but he was an actual actor with a career. And so I guess he could have easily gotten typecast.
Justin Long?
Right. As like, oh, you're that guy from that commercial, so we can't cast you in anything.
Right.
Didn't I mean, most recently, the guy that played Shang-Chi was kind of famously in one of those internet stock photos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and people kept, like, when the movie was announced that he was coming out, like, I mean, not that he was coming. Phrasing.
I didn't know this.
When the movie
really
was
funny.
Yeah, when the movie was coming out, all the shithead people, you know, who are clearly jerks, would like post memes where, because it's like him in this corporate office setting, and they're all like pointing at this computer, like smiling at each other, and it's like, see, this is how bad Shang-Chi's gonna bomb and whatnot. And the movie didn't. It did really well, and he like turned that around on him, and it's like, see, this is me pointing at how good the movie does, and you're all wrong for being, you know.
Right. Another one of those same types of scenarios as BJ Novak, I think is his name, from The Office.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently he did, like, early on in his career, he did, like, he was a model in like product stock photography, right?
Okay.
So like you'd go on whatever website, Adobe Stock Photo or Shutterstock, and there would be images of him in like a boardroom meeting or something. I don't know, whatever, you know. But apparently those are his photos are still used all the time in products. So he'll just be in something, right? That's like, here's this ramen noodle, and it's like BJ Novak smiling, but he has absolutely no idea like what company it's for, because it's like royalties aren't going to him. He's not signing contracts because this is like licensed photography from a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like people will send him like, hey, I saw your face on this brand. It's like, I don't know what that is. So it's pretty funny. There was like a article about like how many products is BJ Novak on, you know?
Oh, okay. So
really
he could
funny.
be on this, promoting this then.
He could, if we paid that, he could be promoting the podcast as long as it's at those stock photography images, you know.
Yeah. All right.
But that's another thing I'll find is I'll link that too, because it's really funny to like see all these products, because it's like it's not anywhere in the States, but it's like, you know, China or Japan or something, and it's these real random products, you know.
Okay.
So, but it's funny to see. It's enjoying. It's a good like a kind of chuckle, you know. So.
Well, yeah. One of the more not questionable, but yeah, let's just say that questionable early career. But so, should we get to why you think that Christine deserves it here?
Yeah. Okay. So it's towards the end of the movie. Now she's trying to, you know, the numerous things have already happened of her trying to get rid of the curse. You know, we've gotten past the seance with the red mist coming out of that guy's mouth. You know, we're well beyond that, or a little bit beyond that. And which I want to talk about that. Maybe we can go back and talk about that a little bit. But
well, what is the point at which you turn on her? Because I think we can. I think I know where you're going, and we can build. Okay.
It's in the diner. Okay. You know.
So let's now that I know where you're going with this, let's go through the sort of more questionable, you know, decisions that she makes, where like you know, you're on her side at first because it's like, well, you know, we understand, but then, you know, she's reading about the sacrifice, so she kills her cat.
Yep.
You know, to try and get out of it, and it wasn't enough.
Like, okay. Yep. And then like she pawns a lot of her stuff, and then still gets Justin Long to pay for the seance, which is $10,000. You know, which is like right there. It's like, I can do it for $10,000. You know, it's like, well, I know where this is going. This is not going to work. You know, and then I guess the seance isn't really problematic after the payment, other than the fact that you just know that the curse is not lifted, you know.
Well, so now there's a human toll to it, right? Because those people put their lives in jeopardy in order to help her, and it doesn't work out, you know.
So at this point, she's becoming selfish. This is where, like, the beginning of the turn.
Well,
right?
she doesn't know that that's going to happen. And
but she's like, I want this curse so much, where it doesn't seem to affect her that like someone died trying to get this curse off of her, you know, which happened to be the same younger woman from the beginning of the movie, you know,
which is a very effective and chilling opening.
Yes,
because you see that little kid get dragged to hell, and you find out that, you know, they were in this south of the border village, and this little boy steals from a gypsy. The gypsy curses him. This is how we're introduced to the Lamia and what it is, and you see just how bad this can get.
Yeah.
How quickly, and the fact that it's a child is pretty hardcore shit. Like
yeah.
Wow.
But I like the seance. It really reminded me of this is when I was like, oh, this is like Sam Raimi's return to form, you know, because it's like, the like dancing and like the hovering, and I'm like, oh, that looks like Evil Dead 2, and the makeup, and then you had the goat with the face, and that looked like the whatever moose or deer that
like
was on the
elk
wall.
That's on the wall laughing at him.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is like not like reminding me of Evil Dead, but like it felt like this was in the same universe, you know, like, oh, I didn't get that feeling of like Evil Dead did it better, which it did, but it's like, I'm like, oh, this connected universe. Who doesn't love a connected universe, you know?
Well,
that's what it felt
he's playing with all of his tools there.
Yeah.
And the dancing, I'm kind of like, I don't really like that here.
No, I like it. I liked it.
There is something clownish and weird about it, but that's the one like jokey thing he does where it's kind of like, I could have done without that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the goat starts talking, I mean that's one thing that's like really interesting about Sam Raimi. Like not that these are deadites, but like the more deadite type monster characters, they're a lot more talkative than your average
Yes.
monster.
Average demon or monster.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring that up. Do you think these are deadites or a version of them? I kind of think that they are, but like the South American version, I guess, because it has to do more with witchcraft. But it's still the same kind of thing, right? Like they have the book of the dead, the Necronomicon, and curses. It all kind of seems very similar,
Hmm.
and I feel like it's the same type of evil entity, because it's like, don't they even like, will swallow your soul, even in the remake, they're like, your daughter's burning, so I feel like there's more than just like surface level connections between the Deadites and these things, whatever the hell they are, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I mean I like to think that like you got your Kandarian demons and your uh what did you call them?
Regionally different demons.
Well, they're all the same part of evil. It's
Yeah.
just that they live in a different part of the world. So then whatever religion is there happens to you know,
Okay.
kind of mold itself around that as the evil force. So I would agree that they're probably very similar connected monsters
Okay. But
that
just maybe not Deadites. These are something else. Like,
yeah, because we know
but
from the series that there's more than it's not just deadites. There's many kinds of demons within the
yeah.
Evil Dead universe. So the Lamia could absolutely be one of those, and just I don't want to keep saying its name too many times, and like it might be like Beetlejuice, where
Oh
it's like
yeah.
now
Or
it's
like
gonna
Candyman. Do you got to do it in front of a mirror?
Candyman.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so they like the seance, but then like after that, it's like, well,
Well, I
haven't
think
solved anything
she's
yet. We
what.
haven't moved forward,
Yeah, and I think she just doesn't have time to show compassion because this was like your last ditch. Like this was supposed to work, and now it doesn't. And
Yep.
it I that so to me, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I just kind of feel like it's like I don't know, man. Like she's just spent at that point.
Yeah. Well, when all your hopes were in like one basket and that gets dashed out pretty quickly and
Yeah,
easily, you're like, oh, now what?
but then there's
Um,
that one glimmer of hope that
right.
that guy is great too. I'm blanking on that gentleman's name who
But
played
he was
who
also in
he
Inception, right?
he was in Inception. He was in Avatar. Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. He's a good actor.
He is.
So he's the one who has the concept of, well, it's a gift, and
Yes,
I
and you could transfer it. You could pass it along.
right, and I
This
think
is where I be this is where I am like, "Oh, I'm turning on you now."
well, I
You
think
know?
well, yeah, and I think the reason he held that back was because that's such an easy answer. Instead of trying to break the curse and get rid of the curse, that if he'd have told her that in the beginning, she would have just given it to the cat or something.
I would definitely given it to the cat. Cat's gone. I'm alive. That's how that's going to work. Uh but my problem with her is when she gets to the diner, you know. This is where it's like, this is the moment where I'm like, yeah, I'm against you now. So she goes in there and there's a couple of phone calls and she's trying to figure out what to do, and everything kind of slows down and she's just like looking around, and then you like understand what she's looking around at, where it's like, oh, she's trying to pick the victim, you know.
Hmm.
And she focuses on the old guy first. And she's like, oh, I could give it to him, he's got an oxygen tank, and then like his feeble wife comes up with like pie or something,
Hmm.
and she doesn't decide. And this is what I don't like, is she's just so arbitrarily trying to figure out like, who am I going to give this curse to, you know. And if it's a gift that could be given to anybody, I would imagine revenge would be perfect. Why not? Why didn't she go right there? You know, I talk about these characters like they're real life people making
Well,
like real life decisions.
yeah.
You know, we're talking about someone giving a gypsy curse away to somebody else, you know? So
Well, she does land there.
she does, but I started becoming against her because I realized that she is capable of almost doing anything not to die, you know, and that means fucking over somebody else to get there, you know.
Well, and I think the thing with that is like because you're looking at the old man, and it's like, well, he doesn't have long to live.
No, that's what I thought.
That's not what they're saying here. Like you are sending someone to hell. Like this is damnation we're talking about. This isn't.
Yeah, so it's got to be an evil person, not a short-lived person.
Yeah, and
not that they not someone that's on the end of their ropes, but someone who's an asshole.
who deserves
you
it.
want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stu.
Just go on the internet.
Mayo Stu.
Look up.
He would be a good choice.
Look up the sex offender list on the internet and just.
Sure. Yep. Child predator. There's plenty of them in prison. You know. Yeah. I'm sure they would love at least one visitor. Just put that across the table. Good for you.
But you know your favorite person, Mr. Stu.
Yeah. Why she does not give it to him is bonkers. He's such an asshole to her, and you know, I guess she's got more self-control than I would.
She was so close, you know. But
you ever met someone you'd give a cursed button to, Brian? You got like anyone on a short list that you like? I would definitely give this button to that person.
Off the top of my head, no. But again, I haven't. Off the top of my head, I don't.
I got some specific names. I'm not going to tell them, but there's some jackasses that I've come across in my life
plural.
that I just got. Yeah, there's more than one, possibly more than two, maybe not more than five. I don't know.
Well, if you get a phone call out of the blue from Matt here, there's.
Yeah, if you ever get a button from me,
don't pick up the phone.
Yeah, if you ever get a gift from me and it happens to be a button, just know you are the top of my shit list, my all-time shit list. But I'm not a two-faced person. They know where they stand with me too.
Yeah, and that's you only have two gears. You're either their best friend or their worst enemy. There's
exactly.
There's no middle ground there.
Between. We're on the same team, or I'm gonna run you over.
I'm gonna drag you to hell.
Yeah. No, I've been called out for that though. I'm too black and white. Like, well, it takes a lot to get into the black, right? You know, like you gotta do a lot to get on that list and stay there. I could have just been hungry too. You know, you never know. So that could have been part of it.
Yeah,
so.
it is like dealing with a werewolf. I can attest to that. So back to Stu there. I mean, I think that's what makes me ultimately decide that she doesn't deserve it, right? Is she does some questionable things and gets to there's some real like to the brink stuff with morality here. But she always pulls it back. And I think the inherent decency wins out in her. And maybe if Miss Ganoush hadn't died, they might have been able to work it out. But I thought that was interesting about trying to give it back to the person that gave it to her.
Yeah.
Because she's the one, like, if there is a person who deserves a curse that's going to take you to hell, it's the person who gave you the curse that's going to take you to hell because they made that choice, right? So it's done. They've already made the choice to do it. So that at that point, your sympathy for Miss Ganoush, or at least my sympathy for her, has expired because the financial situation is sad and an old person losing their house is terrible and tragic. But the fact that she took the steps that she did is unambiguously okay. That's the line. So that's why I would say that she doesn't.
Okay. I just realized a good double feature would be this movie and Thinner.
Because of the curse.
Yeah, curses. Yeah. And they're both going through hell, one's kind of in hell because they're just becoming thinner.
Mm-hmm.
The other one's making their way to getting their boarding pass to go right to the hell,
Yeah.
which they get there. They get on that bus right at the end. Man. But what I love about this movie, it's always like, yeah, it's super hopeful, even though there's no hope whatsoever. Super hopeful that they're going to get out of this situation, and no matter what, they don't.
Well,
They don't
and
make it.
it's a good misdirection. I mean, even if I think they could have played it a little closer, because I felt like I knew what was going to happen even the first time watching it. But it's done so where it's the switcheroo, right? But it's
Yeah.
done so well that I still feel like, because it's a new day. They're getting ready to go on they're getting ready to
Yeah.
go on their honeymoon, but we're not quite there. So let's talk
No.
about the final fight with the dead body just before we get back to that.
It's kind of crazy again. It's like we're just gonna go nuts once more,
It's the second time she has a fight with a dead body, but it's just like it's almost because she's trying to be mean about it that's why it's backfiring, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah. Oh wait, the girl or the gypsy?
Both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that because Miss Ganoush is a prop at this point.
Right.
It's just the dead body's finding ways to attack her, whether it's like the hand gets stuck in the hair and he just pulled my hair out again.
Yeah. And then there's the anvil with the eyeballs, the anvil to the top of the head, and then the eyeballs come squirting out.
Yeah.
Onto her face.
And then you got like the maggots that's like it comes like right into the cameras.
Yeah. Oh God, get away from me. This was I think most of the stuff looks really good in this movie and still holds up pretty good, because I feel like 2009 they were still trying to figure out CGI, but it had gotten like significantly better,
Right.
But there's a couple shots where I'm like, man, that just looks like shit. And one of them is when like she throws up, the gypsy throws up onto her face, and then it's like this kind of, or maybe it's not even throat, maybe it's just the eyeballs and the shit coming out of her head that like hits her in the face, but like how it like comes off of her face is like pretty bad looking.
Well, because the slime was real, but the eyeballs weren't.
The eyeballs were not real, no.
Okay,
But like there's like some, it looks like it's blood and stuff and gunk that just hits her in the face, and like it doesn't smear across, like any like, how do I say it without sounding disgusting? Slimy substance is gonna smear, right? But this just kind of like goes across her face and doesn't leave any residue behind or anything. So,
well, I mean, she is sopping wet because they're in a rainstorm, so maybe there's like something to be said about the various layers of disgusting interaction of being down in a grave in a muddy rain in the mud in a rainstorm.
What? Oh, maybe I got it confused. What was the one where like, because they got into multiple fights, but then I was thinking of the one where she cuts the anvil with the skate and the anvil falls on her. She's got like her head up against a post. She's because she's getting choked, right? Mm-hmm. Is that the same fight sequence? Or is this later? Or maybe it's early.
Well, there's the one in the car. They only have the 3 fights. There's the one in the car. There's the one in the where she goes to her house and then the daughter lets her in. Like, oh, see what you've done. And
were you fat when you were a kid? Like, oh, Jesus, lady, calm down.
Like, yeah. And then there's this one.
Okay, so it must be this one. Just I'm thinking of it before, but yeah, she like, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's like a flashback, because she has like waking nightmares too.
She does get attacked in dreams several times, and there's one in her bedroom where she like pukes maggots onto her.
That could be it. Doesn't matter. I'm on the same page now with the final fight. Yeah, that's gross. It's all gross. There's like, the slime ejecting from her mouth, her nasty monster mouth, or missing the dentures mouth, whatever, you know. Yeah, it's gross. And like she really looks bad at the end. The gypsy does, because like her eyes are even worse looking than they were when she was alive. Just
Yeah.
a lot of gross stuff.
Well,
There's a lot of gross things in this movie. The whole way through, it's gross.
Well, and in spite or despite of it all, regard whatever you're.
I'll come back for it every time.
Reading on it is, yeah. Again, it's like just one of the things that makes this movie really unique is how suspenseful the fight scenes can be. There's this like Rube Goldberg effect going on, and yet it can still be really funny because like the grave's filling it. She thinks she gets rid of it, and she's trying to climb out of the grave, but then it starts raining harder, so the grave floods, and then the dead body pops up again
with it in her hand,
just like bobbing behind her, and then you have the cross fall over, gong noise.
Right, I think that would crack someone's skull open. I think they'd both be dead. So, I got a question. It's a theoretical question, right? So would she have gone to hell if she killed herself? Right? Because it's like the demons were coming. They were just biding their time. And, they came up through the railroad tracks at the end. But if she had done something to herself to avoid the railroad tracks at the end, would she have gone to hell?
What if it's like, well, because, okay, so the Incredible Hulk, like Bruce Banner's tried to kill himself once or twice, but the Hulk wouldn't let it happen.
Right, yeah, it's to pull it out because he becomes the Hulk as soon as he gets shot.
Yeah. So maybe like they would do that, like if that was going to happen, like they wouldn't be robbed.
Grab the bullet.
Yeah, you're voiding the contract somehow, and they.
Yeah. Because that could have been a way out. Just kill yourself.
But then, depending on your religion, you're going to hell anyway. Because
if she's Catholic,
suicide's a mortal sin. So
yeah,
that's probably not a way out.
But if you're atheist,
you just wouldn't be going to this specific hell. You'd be going to a hell
somewhere, maybe a deeper one that's not under train tracks or under houses.
I don't know.
The real hell, the one way down there.
Yeah. So that's yeah. Do you YOLO that, or just play it by ear and see which hell might be worse?
Yeah.
It's really a lose-lose situation.
Hey, how painful is it down there? Pretty painful.
Yeah.
I'll try the other one, I guess.
Ramming coals in my behind every day.
Yeah.
It's well, that they quit that after the first 400 or 500 years, and
right. Oh, how many more years I got? This is your first day.
Yeah.
Yeah. You haven't been here too long at all.
Still pushing that boulder? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So now we're at the end. She thinks she's gotten rid of the curse. We think she's gotten rid of the curse.
Do I think she did?
No, I mean, the audience is supposed to feel that way.
Yeah, which I think they did. I think everyone's like, oh man, they got through it because it's like nice and shiny out. It's bright out. She's wearing blue, this like sky blue jacket.
Yeah. Buys a coat that she always wanted.
You see him open. He's got that ring. He's like, oh my God, I'm nervous. He opens it up, takes a look at it. It's like, things are going to be fine. We're good.
Yeah.
And he's like, I found this envelope in my pocket, and I think you have my change, my coin from the bank.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the earth just like, I mean, everyone's stomach just sinks. Well, for her. And I was like, here's what I thought. When I saw this happening, I'm like, man, they better show it. They better not cut to black right now and it's just credits, right?
Uh-huh.
And I love that Sam Raimi went the distance and like actually showed her getting dragged to hell,
Yeah, and it is horrific too. And I think one of the things, it's not just her reaction to it. It's just
Justin's.
It's Justin Long's reaction to it.
like bewilderment and terrified.
Well,
like at the same time.
Because he doesn't even know what's happening. He just sees his fiance fall backwards on the train tracks when the train is coming. And and that alone would have killed her, but then he gets to see through the train as it's whipping by the camera. Her
these
being
demon arms coming up and burning her as they're dragging her down, and then her eye sockets turn to black. Fuck.
Yeah. I think what you were talking about with the over reliance on CG, I think this is one thing where like it still looks pretty good, but it's just not quite there.
Yeah.
And I would love to see this, like if they still had the computer files, if they could like, retexture it with the materials and redo the lighting or something like that, because that whole subway or not subway, but that whole train platform was basically fake. That was a digital set extension.
Okay.
And that was all photo real, but her going through the rocks looked pretty good. But there's something with like the light and the molten lava that looks a little
weird,
CG-ish, yeah. But it's still pretty. It's not Birdemic. No one's.
I mean, if we get there, like we should just stop making movies altogether. Like if we can do Birdemic again that badly.
If anybody gets to that point who isn't like in elementary school, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Yes. Yeah. Like get away from here. You don't deserve to make anything ever again. Just sit and watch what other people make, like the rest of us. So you don't get to do
learn.
that thing.
You watch and you learn.
Yeah. No, I'm just super glad. Sometimes it's just like get these movies that have these awesome premises, and then you get to the end and the ending's ambiguous. And you're like, well, did it happen? Didn't it? And I'm like, yes, it was a payoff. It's not exactly what you want, because like you're still thinking they're gonna get out of this mess. They never do. Nothing's ever good enough to get out of it. And I like that they show you exactly what's going to happen in the first 3 minutes of this movie. And throughout the whole movie, you're like, yeah, but she's going to get out of it. She's got it together where she's not going to go to hell. Nope. I mean, she's been through hell on this earth just to not go to hell.
Right.
Now she's got to go to hell. Now she's got to go to the real deal,
and it gives me chills every time. I love the moral ambiguity of the movie. It really plays with your emotions, and it's one of my favorite non-Evil Dead Sam Raimi movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, works for me every time. So if you haven't seen it, Drag Me to Hell. Now that we've ruined it, check it out.
Yeah, now that we've spoiled everything and you have no reason to watch it, go watch it.
Yeah,
or watch it before and listen to our conversation about it.
Hey, there we go. Maybe we should put that at the. Nah, that's too much work. That's why it's called the post credits podcast. The post credits pod, not the pre credits podcast.
We expect you to have seen this movie before you press play, and if you don't see it, it's not our fault. It's in the title.
Yeah,
we're not spoiling a damn thing. We don't give out spoiler warnings unless we do the topical shows, because that's a little. Not everyone has seen.
Oh, that'll be fun now that we're doing video. I can't wait to see what we come up, or what I come up with for that buffoonery once I get back, and not the timestamps, but there's that whole like time travel subplot that I invented for the last one.
Yeah, good luck with that.
All right.
No, thank you.
Challenge accepted.
Anyways, so I really don't have too much more to add about this movie.
Yeah.
I like it a lot, even though the ending is like it's a downer. I still enjoy like the whole ride. It's a really unique experience that you don't get to see too often in a movie.
I think that's what makes it a pretty hardcore horror film, because like even the original Evil Dead, Ash kind of dies. I mean, like there was no Evil Dead 2 at that point. Their opinion was everybody in the movie dies. Even the music dies. If you watch the credits, that thing that they're playing there, even that like it slows down and breaks. So it's like even the music dies in that movie. And From Beyond is kind of the same, not the same thing, but like nobody really wins in that one either. And it's like there's certain movies where it's like you put them on and it's like, yeah, that's pretty hardcore, and I think this fits in there for me.
Yeah,
You know,
I
it might
agree.
not be the most like brutal, nihilistic thing or whatever, but it works. So check it
Yeah.
out.
And also, did I get any in my mouth? And it's just this geyser of blood that hit your face. What do you mean?
Why? Why
Yeah.
would you do that,
So fucking awesome.
man?
I love it. Anyways, give us a like and a follow on our social media platforms. As always, you can find us at Post Credits Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And
Coming
I mean,
soon on YouTube once we have the official link there. So we're gonna nail all that down coming soon. But
yes.
yes,
Yeah,
at Post Credits Podcast.
indeed. So, yeah. Well, catch us in the next one.
Yep.
Just FYI, they're coming out on Thursdays now, like it says up there. See up there? It
Yeah.
says Thursdays. We're doing
But
things a little differently now.
yeah, the video people can see that, but for the audio people, we just want to unify our release schedule. So instead of Tuesday this, Thursday that, we're just going to start putting everything out on Thursday. So we're just going to bump that a little bit. And
2 days. It's only
yep,
48 hours.
yep.
So
starting with
don't
this,
say anything about it.
yeah. Well, we'll tell you on the social media, so hopefully this isn't a surprise. And by the time the episode comes out, you'll know about it.
It'll be a normal thing. It'll be normalized. So,
all right.
anyways, thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah.
Or watching, or listening, wherever you're at, whatever it is you're doing with your senses. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
We'll catch you in the next one.
That's right. We'll drag you to the next one.